And welcome back to Knights Arena Valorant Challengers North America Split 1. We've made it to week 3, and we're in our first day here in our second series of the day, as well as it's the debut of Moist Moguls and Turtle Troop's new team. It's kind of a little bit different than what we've seen from them in the past, and clearly the changes worked. It wasn't necessarily the most beautiful Valorant we've ever seen, Dust, but they find the win in map 1, 15-13.
Yeah, we had like a game where I felt like, when the GAR was playing TSM, you weren't seeing a lot of critical errors or like big mistakes. It was a lot of teams playing like really technical Valorant, and it just came down to who could kind of, come out of the weeds on top in some of the critical late round moments. This game has been a slugfest where you got two dudes out there throwing nothing but haymakers and they don't know anything else. And, sometimes they land and sometimes they don't. And again, there were some situations where Moist Moguls did feel like they were in control. You could see they had a lot of the first kills. They were doing pretty well in the clutches. They, were doing decent in post plants, but both teams were kind of equal in that regard. Again, it just felt like it was a tale of a Moist Moguls team that had control of both halves at certain points and then kind of gave it up, and we wound up in overtime.
Yeah, I mean, you mentioned the first kills too. Sim being the one that kind of led the charge there. Now you see the 9 and you go, oh, what a great game. Congratulations. Well, also 5 first deaths. So a high ratio of early fight shift, but it did lean in their favor, but definitely didn't end up pulling them over the finish line like it needed to.
Yeah, those post-plant statistics were surprising considering how it looked to be a very one-sided affair after the first blood engagements, pretty much for both teams, right? I mean, the 9 first kills for Sim for sure gives you that indication, but even on the other side where TTR were finding success on the openers, the follow-up was a bit clustered, and it seemed like we were just going to get these dramatic tugs back and forth until finally there was a hero on the other side, kind of like the last man standing would step in. In that first half, we really got that, but it felt like the longer the series went on, the more Turtle Troop were able to kind of find some conviction in how they wanted to actually execute for things like retakes or how they wanted to set up their post plants in particular. And that may have been the difference maker in the end. I mean, like you mentioned, it was not a beautiful game of Valorant, but boy, was it exciting for all of the craziest reasons. So, it's kind of an analyst's nightmare, I think, to look at a series like that. But I think the one thing you can take away is that this Turtle Troop team did kind of slow things up, find a way to kind of control the environment a bit better while still having these giant pop-offs.
And we weren't sure what to expect from this new roster. Like, we talked about it coming into this at the top of the show, and even more so before this first match, Dust. Some of the players that we've seen inserted into the roster, sure, they had a good experience at one point in time at a high level of play, speaking specifically of Mummy, but it's been a while since we've seen him play at this level of play. And not only that, how much time has this team even had to really mesh things out? How has this worked? And even though it was a little sloppy, the fact that they can find the first map win here in the first series playing with this roster, that does show promise, because I think a lot of people probably would have had this pegged as a victory for Moist Moguls coming into the series.
Yeah, it's also interesting to see Mummy play like a pretty different role than I'm used to seeing him play as well. Like, I feel like most of the time I've seen him kind of flex duelist or be like a controller player, like Omen in particular, but you see him coming out playing Breach for like only the 8th time in his career. So definitely kind of a rare thing for him. Tig comes in as a guy who has a lot of experience now. He's called for some teams in the past, so I wouldn't be surprised if he wasn't helping with the leadership of this team now, kind of coming in and filling that void. And like you said, yeah, it wasn't always the most tidy form of Valorant, the most neatly tucked in here and there. But hey, they got the job done in the end, which I think is a huge step for them considering where they were at coming into this series. Any success is success in the end. It just may not be the prettiest way to do it.
I think that ultimately what you can say is things to learn, things to take away from this. Let's take a look at the map pool as well, just so we can remind ourselves what map 2 is going to be, because we started things out on Fracture, but we're going to be moving on over to Pearl as our second map. Now, it is also important to note that Fracture was Turtle Troop's map selection, so obviously that means they came into this one a little bit prepared. So the 15-13 scoreline, let's just put that aside and just look at the win. Yes, they won their map, but it's something that actually a lot of teams have struggled to do thus far in Challengers here, Shift.
Yeah, the interesting thing about going into Pearl is, again, it's not easy to sit there and say, like, we know what's going to happen here because this Turtle Troop roster is so different, but there has to be something to be said for them to get absolutely smacked by FaZe Clan on this map, to not ban it, and then trust that you could still keep it in the pool and be competitive on it, maybe goes to show that maybe something was figured out between this little dual play between what we're getting out of Governor and Tig, because that was really one of the biggest success points that I think we saw through Fracture, and it definitely can be successful here on Pearl. I mean, even if you wanted to run things like a Sky or a KO with another Neon, you could technically still do that. It's a little bit outdated as far as a meta is concerned, but it's still efficient when it comes to trying to get into the mix and force gunfights, which it seems like Turtle Troop want to do. So I don't know. It'll be curious, I think, to see what Turtle Troop wants to offer as far as a comp is concerned, considering that this is a map that they have allowed to be in the pool.
Well, Moist Esports, or Moist Moguls, excuse me, felt a little bit more soggy than usual. They got to get themselves back to their moistened state, so maybe they did a little bit of a pat dry, kept themselves damp as they prepare for map number 2. They're trying to stave off a 2-0 loss here to the Turtle Troop. We're ready for the agent select for our second map. It's going to be Pearl. It's all yours.
I think Bach just took care of all of the wetness wordplay things that we possibly could have come up with, so we can tack that one off the checklist.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure that chat is just drowning in memes right now. After that
drowning.
one.
I see.
Yeah.
Drowning.
I had to see
Got
if
that
there was
one in
still
there.
one left. Yeah,
You're an idiot.
tapped or
I love
dry.
you. Okay.
Yep.
All right, so what are we going to get from the comp point here? Tig's going to run into the Sova with a jet combo. Okay, so this seems to kind of give us some inference as far as how Turtle Troop want to play the map. Where on the other side, you know, we have seen Breakthrough now, Moist Moguls play this map a couple of times, and this is a different comp from when they've played it before. No Fade, most notably, and a Viper in its place.
Yeah, double controller composition, so it is slightly different. And again, we were talking about why did they pick Pearl, you know, because we know that, yeah, maybe one of their picks of Ascent and Haven was going to get banned out first, but the other one would still be there, and that's a map they've shown a lot of strength on. I mean, Ascent and Haven were really what they built their success on just generally. To see them go for Pearl, but they just got kind of blasted on by G2 in the first week, or week 2, excuse me. I was a little bit confused, but this was a map that they did play pretty well throughout qualifiers, so it's not as if that loss of G2 is the only thing that they have when it comes to Pearl. Like, they also have some proven success. So apparently this shift in composition is something they're confident in. And again,
Yeah.
I think on average they looked like the better team last map despite losing it. So we'll see.
And this is, I mean, there's so many things to talk about this Moist Moguls composition. Not only do we not often see Viper come through for Moist Moguls, but you also are running the Raze, and Proto's not playing Cypher.
Bruh.
What?
I mean, Killjoy's just too good on this map.
Oh, yeah, I know.
I can understand why you would have to stray away from Cypher.
Do you think that was his choice, or do you think he kind of like had to put it away, like his teammates were saying, why did Killjoy? It's like, fine.
Who knows?
The first blood. Flashes galore in this connector play. Goodness, once again.
We're picking right up where we left off, baby.
No, brother.
We're getting sloppy right from the start, but Moist is going to be able to come out on top here and have themselves a 3-versus-1 post plant.
Spike planted.
Matters able to see Sim plus the second, hoping for some wall banks. None will land. Not onto Thief, who's already at pretty low health. Turret goes up. That'll be a little defensive tactic to try to stall off and play through connector. Nano storm out, and Sim anticlimactically just throws in the last headshot. But yep, we're no hesitation towards forcing gunfights for these two squads.
Nah, two teams that are definitely willing to scrap, and there's definitely plenty of opportunity for early skirmishes on this map, particularly through mid and art and things of that nature. So I wouldn't be surprised to see some more of that throughout the game. But as it stands, Moist will be able to buy up the rifles and Spectres. We do have a Marshal coming out from Governor, so he's looking to try to still pull a little something out there. Sheriff as well, maybe coming out for a couple other players.
No, just the Marshal, looks like.
Okay. Mummy had it, but then sold it back.
Yeah. Governor just going to watch this cross through screens, wait for a teammate likely to get some information, then take his peek. Ascension Turret also part of it. That's the problem with Governor. He hits shots. Brock, Trailblazer out. Moist Moguls are going to force their way in. Sim just dives forward, but Adder gets the trade. And now he's got the Marshal in hand, but Brock unexpectedly steps in and takes down 2. Wow, okay.
That was so risky. It winds up paying off, though, at least. This spike is going to go down. Shock Dart's, though, going to do its damage to Faya. Can't get away.
And the kill.
Gun here.
But Tig, by himself, left to his devices with the classic and Owl drone. He wants the Marshal. Recon bolt out. Flash denied. Headshot lands. Brock now at low HP, but Moist Moguls are just going to double stack this little high-low. One player close, one player a bit beyond. That is a tough gunfight to take with Classic.
Indeed it is.
Yep.
He's like, I'll try up here. Maybe this will work. No, they're out of
Doesn't
there.
matter. Yeah,
He's
on
just
the
going to die to the
post
spike, and that's going to be it.
Nope.
At least he got to touch it. He's like, I touched it, though. As the more expensive rifles will get carried over as well, so that's important for Moist in the bonus.
Here.
Hey, Governor, dude, I want to see Governor have done this a handful of times at the Marshall.
Look at that.
He's definitely quite snappy. No doubt about it.
Okay. Are we going to see a semblance of an actual full round setup and execute?
It's too early to call.
That's what I'm curious on here.
Too early to call. Stinger going to come out from Sim. 2 rifles out, and then the 2 sheriffs. So kind of a slightly less moist of a bonus than you'd want. A little more crusty.
Viper Wall's going to force. Actually, it's not really a force. It's just an election of troop to move forward through B. They get the kill on the lurker, but Flya gets a kill deep over towards Sewer. So he's taken out the Killjoy, so all this utility goes to nothing. Spike will be planted. Defense still trying to form up a retake in this 4v4.
Yeah, they're going to hold control of Art as well as Long, and Flya's pushed deep to try to watch the transition. He can even flank through water to Flowers if he wanted to, depending on the timing.
Oh, big Stinger kill from Sim, though. Governor shut down. Brock at range kind of offers up a gunfight, which Mummy's happy to take on the close corner. Troop just clean things up.
I don't like that.
I don't know why you chow that.
Yeah, I don't get it either when Sim only has Stinger. So you are the man. Like, you need to be able to stay alive at Long as much as possible because you have the main defending rifle to stop the defuse. So to see him challenge that early, it forces Sim's hand because he has to take a close fight to have the Stinger have any impact. I mean, obviously we're playing on the patch now that has been significantly nerfed. And, yeah, that was a little bit of a fumble there.
No. It just feels like, you know, if you get the kill even, it's kind of an inconsequential one. Like, the defense still is going to hit you through that same area. I don't know. Peculiar things. So now full purchase for the most part, going into round number 4, as you'd expect. Sim does have the showstopper earned up, though. That could be a difference maker in the round. And Moist Moguls are going to step into mid. Not see too much outside of the defensive star. Adder is nearby, and there's going to be help on the long cross once again, just kind of on the section of this toxic screen.
Yeah, once again, looking to poke and prod at Art. Turret will discover their presence. And so, obviously, Tig knows what he's up against. Starting to call for those reinforcements to rotate, but a Trailblazer will get Tig pushed all the way back to back hall. Showstopper went out, lead the way. He's going all the way in and gets the frag on the Tig. So the spike will go down. Great boom bot on the Flowers as well to slow down the retake, but Adder reclaims our position.
Yeah, that's a key defensive retake position without question. So after the plant, Thief is going to hold. Cosmic Divide will be thrown in. That will dissect the site completely in half. A little consideration for Adder, thinking there may be a late flank through mid. That's not actually the case whatsoever, though. So now the hit has to come through. And they've actually already stepped through the Cosmic Divide without any challenge. The fragment even pushes back Proto a bit further. So now you have to kind of retake this into the face of the battle. Even exchange so far, 2v2. Adder's got the corner. A little bit of help on the way. And how about the retake from Turtle Troop? Once again, you know, you put down the Cosmic Divide, and Turtle Troop just allowed to walk through it?
I mean, it's like they really want to just play back towards Long, play together so they could trade, also try to use the Ashes Stars to pull people off the spike defusal and just kind of disrupt Turtle Troop that way as opposed to just staying on site and fight them as they come through the Cosmic Divide. But still, it's another one of those tough rounds, and we saw this a lot in the last game too, where Moist have control, they seemingly should have it, and then they just don't quite put the finishing touches on it. And Turtle Troop is a team with the talent, despite their short time together with a couple of these members, to be able to punish you for those situations.
Absolutely. Again, it's a very convincing first blood.
Yep.
And Moist Moguls, even though they gain all of that secret position outside of A, they just give it right back, essentially. I don't know.
Their early round setups are fine. Like, they're very good at taking map control and, like, attacking sites and being really well coordinated in those moments, but something just seems to break down in the nitty-gritty.
Well, here, it's just getting a little bit out of control as well. It's mostly just pistols for Moist Moguls. Heal plus Seekers out. Oh, this is a great fragment. Completely splits up these last 2 offensive members. Mummy trying to get it done himself. Flash will push Sim off the angle, even though he's collected a rifle. This is a 1v3 with no spike and a double stack here. Governor's going to catch the shoulder, throw the dagger right between the eyes, and with that, Turtle Trip now 3 in a row.
We got a pick.
I'm starting to find their footing here defensively. Moist has been kind of just thrown back and forth in this buy save rotation. Now I see what you were talking about earlier. Yeah, I'm on board now. I get it. It's very aggressive.
I mean, you got like Ninja Koala Bear, you got Hand Grenade Squirrel. I don't know what that creature is with the helmet, but he's fully loaded.
He's definitely fully loaded.
Sloth with the sniper rifle, Bear with Kevlar,
nothing.
and then you got Worm with top hat and cane.
I favor the man with the top hat and cane.
Oh, I always do.
Got to. If he's coming in with that kind of confidence, then you know that he's got to be up to something, you know?
Yeah, that guy's up to no good. Or nothing but good. One of the two.
Yeah.
Sorry if you're just tuning in for this match. You have no idea what we're talking about. We talked about it last game.
Sometimes it's for us, not for you, you know?
Yeah, exactly.
It's what helps us get through the broadcast. Is Thief able to find first blood here? And that's a big one. It's going to open up the long A route and put a lot of pressure on Mummy, who's kind of alone right now. Reinforcements are not quite there yet, and well, it won't matter.
Okay, now, this is a round in a 5v3.
Surely you win.
Full control.
Yes.
You have to win this round. A lot of ultimates, though, are ready to go here for Turtle Trip. Tick tries to walk into sight, gets punished, a lot of health taken away, and eventually gets denied. Brock puts together a kill and a weeded, and then it's just down to Adder, who will only find one. Okay, that's a little bit more like it if you're Moist. Now 3-3.
I'm no doctor, but
Indeed,
I can
all
catch a bullet.
square pretty quickly here. Very tooth and nail, just like the last map was. So we are going to see a low buy from Turtle Troop on a couple of players. Governor looked like he wanted to pick up the Marshal there for a second. Instead, is going to pull out the Operator, and they do quite have enough to get the buy, though it does mean Tick has to go Sheriff only, but lots of ults available. Toxic Pit is available for Fly for post-plant, though, as well, so lots of variables in play here.
For sure, for sure.
Pull cat.
The Governor will not be tested off the rip here towards B. The knife will confirm no one is home, at least not initially. Full stack here for Moist Moguls in towards mid. There's an alarm bot and a star placed. Try to deny this, plus also 2 defenders nearby that can try to contest. Flashes out. There's the gravity well being called in.
So
and then they're
well
going to try to counter
used.
this with the Hunter's Fury. Tig will tally up another elimination. That is a heck of a response for Turtle Trip through mid.
Yeah, they kind of flushed Moist down the toilet there. Around she went in the gravity well, and then was just rinsed by the bullets of the oncoming players. And Brock's still trying to test his luck here. Fragment going to kind of push him back. They don't really have any presence anywhere else. Like, they don't have any periphery pressure. Like, they kind of just have to stick together. They do eventually battle their way to be linked, but still in a 3 versus 5. And, I mean, the defense has got this well covered.
Oh, yeah. I mean, there's nowhere for Moist to go right now. They can't go B long. They don't have no idea what's there.
They can go
A long's
home.
not really an option. You kind of have to hit this through sewer, but I mean,
Exactly.
it's being watched. I mean, they're completely covered.
If
on all
anyone's going to
sides.
be comfortable in sewers, it's going to be the Moist Moguls, right?
I thought you were done with the water wordplay.
Wasn't really wordplay per se, but I get
No,
what
I
you
guess
mean.
not.
And no, I'm not done.
Okay, fair.
Now I'm done.
All right.
Maybe. You never know what opportunities are to present themselves.
Our producer until another one
10
leaks
seconds
through.
left.
He wants to get in on it as well. Why did you publish that to the world? We could have kept that
I
between
had
us.
to. It was good.
Yeah.
One
Gravity
enemy
well will
remaining.
pull out one. Spike gets down, but Tay gets the final shot needed. And Turtle Troop clean, just as good as Moist Mogul were in the last round. Nice response here for Turtle Troop.
Indeed. Also, I remembered I needed to tell you what the Moist Maker was, because you didn't know, and I'm sad. It's a Thanksgiving leftover sandwich, where you basically make a sandwich with all the leftovers.
30
Your
seconds
Friends reference?
Yes.
Okay. Now I'm on page. It's been so long.
The way that I found it, though, is through binging with Babish, as I find those food things.
Okay. That's fair. I was like, when you said it initially, I was like, this, I mean, I know I've heard this before, but I have no idea what this is like in practice. I'm not going to pretend like I know.
Yeah.
I'll own up to it.
Yeah. It's all good.
But then when
We
you
got there
said
in the end.
Thanksgiving leftovers, like, wait a second. I've seen
Yeah,
this
yeah.
from Joey.
Placing swamp grenade.
That's how we're so old, dude. We're so
Yeah.
old. It's sad. No one knows. No one knows what we're talking about. All the Zoomers are busy watching stuff in VR or something. I don't know.
Doing whatever they do.
Whatever they do
Yeah.
with their talks and ticks.
Operator now moved for Governor over towards B Link after all this threat from Moist Moguls has been asserted in towards one of the 2 mid positions, and they're still looking to possibly move through this. We've got nanostorms that are blocking the doors in towards this A-link, plus also the sentry turret to get a read. Trailblazer scouting things out, sees nothing, including Governor, who could try to late peek this if he chooses to. But the hit's on the way. And Turtle
Indeed it
Troopers
is.
moving the defense to try to deal with this. And
they
Moist
have good
Mogul are not
setup.
confident.
Like, there's a lot of nanos in
Yeah.
coverage here to really make the A hit tough, and you are going to see Moist kind of realize perhaps it wasn't to be there, and they will backpedal.
This is a tough rotation, though.
It is. There's not a lot of time to make it work, and Governor has an operator watching this long angle eventually, so he can get one and done and then slow down the spike progress even more.
And you've got flashes
30
to delay
seconds
this
left.
from Mummy plus a fragment, and that flash may give it away. That Governor is going to be tested. Now, they don't know if there's anything in towards B-Link, though. That's the only real curiosity point here for Turtle Troop. Stars gravity well, pulls Governor out. He can't actually take the angle, so now he's got to hit a quick snipe, and no! Sim takes down 2 as an ult command ends up doing essentially nothing. They will burst down Mummy to make sure he's not back into the mix. Weeded trying to work his way on. If he gets a double, the spike's not planted yet. Wait a second, Andrew up top still has the win condition built in. Does the spike get planted?
Oh
Yes,
my
it
God,
does.
dude.
The lockdown is in, though. Brock has to back. And now the opposing lockdown will be spent. Tig looking to challenge it, but the nanoswarms will keep him at bay. He's going to force his way through. He's getting chewed up, and Proto will find the kill. This series is freaking wild.
Everything was looking pretty okay. I mean, I do think that the clock was certainly a problem for Moist, but they did such a great job dictating the pace of B-back calls with their own utility to not really allow a way for Governor to break out and have impact with the op. And, I mean, they got a double kill right away from Sim to also take out the null command. So that was all fine and dandy. That was actually well executed. But then the fact that they almost didn't get the spike down in time was very questionable. And then it got kind of dicey from there, but they do wind up bringing it down. So we're back to all even once again.
Jeez. 5-man stack this time for Moist Moguls. Both teams in pretty good condition when it comes to the purchase. Save Mummy, who's got the Stinger. Showstoppers out first. Cosmic Divide offensively placed, and Sim is going to find absolutely nothing with this. In fact, he takes the root of the damage from the fragment. Healing is here. Viper's Pit to reinforce. So now it's down to Turtle Troop. How do you break back into this? And they're going to go early, very quickly, actually. And Adder gets first blood onto Brock. Flya has to kind of hold the back edge of this Viper's Pit. Shock darts are moving him around a touch. And this is just all about finding toxin proximity, really. If you can find the timing, you're in a good spot. Turtle Troop taking their time, now on the way in. And the kills are coming out. They shut down the Viper's Pit. Sim in the corner only gets 1. Now it's down to the Cosmic Divide coming through for the defense. Proto last one left in 1v2. Spike is planted relatively close to this, and he may slip behind, gets the first one.
No!
Transfer. How does he happen to get those? A 1v2 for the eBay clutch, and Moist Mogul take the edge.
That almost feels like a defensive Cosmic Divide backfire, in my opinion.
Agreed.
Like, I think you would have rather just faced a 2-on-1 around the corner rather than playing around with the wall. I actually don't like this call. I would much rather just face him straight up without the wall being a factor at all. I mean, NT, but I like what Moguls is doing there. Almost fumbled it, but didn't like that from Turtle Troop.
Quick action once more. This time over towards B-Long. Governor back with the Marshal. This time not going to land a headshot. Some respect given, though, from Moist Moguls. They will start to creep their way forward. Same Vipers, Toxic Stream, still trying to dissect this B site. Crossing on the corner. We did trying to catch a piece of timing, not going to work out. Paint shells in. Adder in the corner. Stuck. Sim. All 3 kills so far. Second paint shells out. Last pack as well, because why not? Tig up top. Can't really do too much. Last one left, and no. It's the first 3 from 1, the last 2 from Flya. Moist Mogul with the investor flawless in round 10.
Yeah, really well played there. There wasn't anything sloppy about that one. That was a fine-tuned machine. Striking with precision on B. Sim being the tip of the spear. Getting lots of value out of his weaponry and utility. What would you be fishing for were you in need, Kevlar? Like a swordfish? Or you?
I mean, he's got something. Unless that's bait next to him.
That's something he's already caught. That's just chilling.
Well, unless, again, I mean, look at the size of that fishing pole. That guy's trying to catch a marlin.
Yeah, exactly.
You use a trout to catch a marlin, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't fish. I don't know if that's actually a thing for you. Sounds like it would be.
That could work, yeah. It adds up.
I trust the Louisiana guy to tell me how fishing works.
Yeah. Ooh,
I've got your
nearly.
trail.
Actually, no, he did clip him.
Yeah. Decap gone for Fly. Seekers are out.
My ult's not found one.
And really,
I
that
feel his
just-
pain, man. My knees are gone too.
Yeah, me too.
We're old.
We're just old, though.
Yeah.
Unless you took a hop shot to the knee in your youth that I don't know about.
Haven't, you know?
But the Seekers does some work through mid. Pushes back the defense a touch. It's a long rotation through the defensive spawn to get to A, which is wide open. Save just the close defenders over towards Artweed. It does get a first blood. That's on a long-range shot, too.
That was a big shot. They kind of get past the grab well, but they're still getting a run through the gauntlet here as the operator Governor is going to tee off. Adder as well, able to chime in. Governor staying alive and backing off, keeping another angle.
Still holding some nice corners inside these nebulas. Timing good for Weeded. Comes into the mix, and with the help of Adder, the shutdown is in play. Back and forth we go. Turtle Troop still alive, trying to get us to another 6-6 half.
I wonder how much I'd have to pay to sponsor Turtle Troop. How much is it to get in the game, you think?
I have no idea.
They're the only unsponsored team in the league. We've gotten other streamers out here. You got the Skies Toast out there. He's got his team. Now we got the Moist Moguls. What can I get? You know what I mean? Like, if you're not getting anything, I give you something. Is that enough? You know? The question I have.
All right. That or what is it? The Dust Team Ace sponsorship?
Yeah, I don't know.
This guy just wants to get involved, man. Can't hate him for that.
I just gotta know what the buy-in is. You know, I'm probably way out of my league, but just curious. Also, might be a conflict of interest casting my own team. I don't know. I'll let you be the judge of that.
Hey, you can be the precedent center, that's for sure.
Yeah. You are gonna see
Utility exchange mid-map. Not really influencing either team's decisions, though, as the hit's looking towards B.
Indeed it is. Lineups are starting to come out here to try to clear some space on the site. Smokes up on Heaven as well. Toxic Stream providing cover for Brock to get in. Flashes through, looking for a fight, finds it, but not the result he wanted.
Wow, and then the reveal on the backside from Tig. Unreal, we did!
He
4
smashed
kills,
last
the
2 rounds,
Cosmic
dude.
Divide just to let you know about it, and it's a 6-6 half. But what a reveal from Tig, gets the whole team with it.
Dude, we did had a hell of a final 2 rounds of this half as well, must be said. I mean, just another crazy set of circumstances taking place throughout the course of this game. That was the one I was a little concerned by, but
yeah,
other than that, it was just kind of wild, man. It's kind of the high octane Valorant you like to see.
Again, it may not be pretty, but it's exciting.
True, it's fascinating.
I'm here for exciting Valorant.
I don't know if I'm learning anything, but I am watching the game and talking about what I'm seeing.
Yeah, it's enjoying, at least for now.
Scanning ahead.
So we swapped the sides back to pistols. And it's a hard 4-man stack for Moist Moguls coming through B long, and it's coming through quickly. There is an alarm bot that they'll eventually have to hurdle. And more beyond that, a sentry turret as well is also in the mix to kind of keep mid safe. So all intents and purposes, based on what we're seeing, Turtle should kind of hold an advantage here on this approach to A.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see if Flya can just do enough to buy time for this flank to set in, and then how much impact can it have. Adder, in the meanwhile, has got his own little flanking maneuver that he's trying to play through sewers here. So that could be interesting, as Flya could be getting boxed in. It feels like he is.
Oh, he's absolutely boxed in. He's by himself, though. The thing about this is TTR don't know that he's the only one. So now that they clear up all of this space towards Flowers, you start to kind of collect all of this Killjoy utility, try to place it down to respond to this. Very
Great
quick,
flash.
Arm Moist Moguls on over towards the Fuse's Sim. Proto working with him, but the kill is not going to be there this time. Turtle Troop take the pistol up 7-6.
That was so well done. I mean, obviously, they got fortunate that there was just a massive flank and they caught a great timing on Flya, but also just some beautiful flashes took off there from Mummy to kind of cover as Moguls were trying to press in from the backside, able to give his teammates a chance to swing out and have some favorable fights, and they win them. So, well done around there from Turtle Troop. Tip your hat to them. Or helmet, I guess.
Out of charges.
Especially if you're that creature that's in the spin the bottle game.
Yeah.
Nothing crazy here from Moist Moguls. Just a couple of sheriffs in a frenzy. So weapon advantage with the Turtle Troop, but don't let that influence how this round may go, because it's been a map and a series full of unexpected events. And this time it's just orb collection for Turtle Troop towards A as they now re-wrap back over towards Adder's direction at B.
Yeah, they almost had a trap set with that grab well and caught someone, but they were able to get away and refortify on the A site. But a lot of their attention is here. They don't really have anyone in a position to rotate, and so it's really just going to be on the people who are here to defend. Aldrome going to come out. Doesn't really get too much intel off of that.
Rock tag, flash delays. It's a shock dart that gets the final word in, though. First blood tally.
Standing ahead.
And now the hit on the way. Recon bolt in. And, oh, how about this? Moist Moguls are stepping into this, and Sim gets 2. That is unbelievable for the effort. Definitely makes things a little bit easier. Proto quickly through the flank on towards Link. We did trying to clear Thief. This is a tough gunfight, though, and fortunately hits the
30
headshot.
seconds left.
Spike going to be planted. 2v2. Fly in Proto on the retake, and Flya has already walked really far forward, but we did. Still gets the headshot, leaving Proto now by himself. Has upgraded into a Spectre, toggles, gets the 1v1 he wants, but Weeded wins the gunfight.
Weeded's having a game.
Take the second. Oh, he's
Weeded is having a game right now, dude. I mean, he bailed his team out of what was a very, very tough situation. I mean, they didn't really get much info out of the Owl Drone. It was a stack on the A site. Players were getting whittled down by pistols. I mean, while we did still in astral form trying to set up stars, it was not looking pretty. But we did wins a key battle in dugout, and then is able to use it post plant to come out with another multi-frag round. He's at 17-9, so really popping off here, saving the day for Turtle Troop on that one.
And he did in the first map as well, keep in mind. He went 22 and 17 with 23 assists.
Yeah, he had a heck of a map, that's for sure.
So into the full buy for Moist Moguls. Turtle Troop on, we'll call it a bonus, but a lot has been purchased in this round. Yeah. Governor on the way in, sentry turret will alert the defense, although no one is actually on site, so all that utility will essentially be denied. Bummy for the quick plant. And Moist Moguls will be called on to retake.
Yeah, they do have a flank kind of being set up here by Brock, though he doesn't actually commit to it, decides to go beat Link instead, so they can just split it both ways. Uh-oh, you got your lineup Larrys here.
Yeah, he does throw out the flash, though, so now Tig is kind of watching for that flank. This is actually a very heavy look over towards the flank overall. They still don't know if someone's on this position, especially with Brock still being alive. Sim on the defuse already halfway done. Governor needs to check this. He's the only defender of it. Does get the kill just in the nick of time. Halfway done. Brock try to toggle. But the kills come through. But boy, I'll tell you, that little guiding light from Brock, it kept Turtle Troop a bit distracted on the backside, and for a moment, Moist Mogul had a really good chance to get back in for the defuse. It nearly got fully taken down in the first go of it.
Yeah, and you really felt like for a moment there that Governor was behind the stone left unturned, that he was going to be able to pop out and really disrupt things that they didn't really quite have the read on where he was, but
One enemy
he
remaining.
was a little bit delayed on getting his peek off, but he got it just in time, does stop the defuse, and then his teammates are able to finish the job. Now they're up 9-6. The Moist Moguls looking low on credits here, just Sheriffs and the Stinger, so a great chance for Turtle Troop to hit double digits on this attacking side.
And more than that, they can earn up a lot of ultimates as well, depending on how the kills and the orb collection goes, as Moist Mogul are actually looking to move this one into a pretty aggressive stance towards main. But again, Turtle Troop just interested in the orb, they'll back away.
Yeah.
They get a lot of utility off of that as well. It's a guiding light, a smoke, and paint shells off the bat for Moist Moguls.
Oh yeah, definitely burnt a lot of that utility that they were going to have to worry about. Now they're just all swinging over towards long B, which is a good call. Like, when you know that there's no really long-range weapons in play, you just play this wide open space. There is a lot of Killjoy utility here, which could hurt them if they try to go for back hauls. They could get hit a little bit. And this rotation's pretty damn fast from Moguls through the B-Link area.
First down, but Trooper not opting to play their post plant in any form on site. Force these Sheriffs to hit shots at range.
It does riddle the Killjoy
close.
utility out of play, so that's big.
Yeah. Top of the screen will be a problem. Flashes in, fragment down. That splits this retake pretty considerably, but the kills are looking pretty solid. Back and forth, pinstripe kill feed. It favors Moist Moguls. 3v2 situation. Sim on for the defuse once again. Pushed off it thanks to the darts. Thief, close corner, shut down. Long range shots now for Dig, and he's feeling the pressure. Hunter's Fury is going to get called. It gets to halfway, though, and now Tig's the last one standing. Doesn't get the kill. Sim back on for the defuse. A little bit of help over the top. First shots are in, but the defuse gets confirmed by Sim. It's a thrifty for Moist Moguls, and in a series of unexpected events, add it to the list.
Yeah, I mean, the list is getting pretty long at this point on just crazy antics coming through from each side at different points in time. This time, it's the Moist Moguls pulling one through. Yes, this was a very close skirmish with the pinstripe kill feed, but at this moment, you're thinking with Tig having shock darts and Hunter's Fury, he's probably still got it in the bag. But no, not to be. Moist pull out the defuse and the thrifty, and so now we're at a close game still.
Get out of my way.
Sim is fighting this series, brother.
He's doing whatever he can, man.
Golly.
He's definitely made a believer out of me. I mean, being kind of one of the new kids on the block in this league compared to some of the veterans we're used to seeing from last year. Oh, Flag could have got hit by that more. I mean, that was just dead on, but will they think he's there? They have no idea.
And Proto gets a key first blood. The knives are now down. Fly, the toxic screen falls, but he only gets one. Mommy gets an unexpected double. Of course he does. Lockdown now in, but the spike is relinquished, and Sim wants the chow early. Paint shells out. We did looking for the trade. Long range shot's not going to land, and Moist Moguls go back to back in rounds, and now just down one.
And now the series is all of a sudden wide open again. I mean, Turtle Troop were looking for a moment there like they were about to pull double digits. They were about to pull out in front, maybe set up a little bit of a 2-0 story, which would be quite the redemption based on the first 2 weeks of play with this new roster. But not to be. Moist Moguls fighting back, looking to tie this thing up as Turtle Troop have very little to work with. The only alts available are ones they can't really use in this round with just Sheriffs to really pull something off.
Yeah, true.
So this very much should be a tie game. Sim going in deep.
Yeah, just walking forward. This is risky.
Oh
by the way,
my
'cause
God. But the intel he gets from it.
I'll say, the thing is, like, if he drops that weapon, though, that's a free weapon collection. But now all of a sudden,
Brock's seeing the whole team.
Out. Yeah, I mean, they're stuck mid-map. You've got Ascension turret on one side, 3-man defensive stack towards A-Link, and Sim is going to get
no way
everything or nothing.
Oh boy. If he didn't get one frag, I would have been shocked. But he gets this one and gets away.
Oh, just barely.
It wasn't the prettiest one, but
down.
it did happen. Adder grabbing a frag, though, and a rifle.
Definitely makes us within the realm of possibility. Sim will get healed up by Brock, but the offense has some space to work with now all of a sudden with that elimination. It's going to be a spike rotation deep towards B long, and it looks like the rest of Troop will try to join Mummy on this play.
That confirms no B link with that guiding light, but they have no idea what's going on at the A side of the map. I mean, for all they know, they could be up long.
30
So they're
seconds
kind of
left.
refortifying that. They're just relying a lot on a Proto to kind of anchor B with his utility. But if he goes down, all of a sudden you got a 3v3 post plant that you would maybe even favor Turtle Troop in.
Yeah, 2 weapons and an ult command. Yeah, for sure, that's definitely plausible. Nanostorm's alarm bot. Mummy forced to plant in not the ideal location, but he has to commit to it because of the clock. This is actually going to force Turtle Troop to play forward here. Proto trying to get reset up once again, but do they expect this play to come over very quickly towards Bridge? I mean, a lot of this counter utility for Moist Moguls is likely not going to hit. The trades are decent. Gets us to a 1v1. Pardon me, 1v2 situation. Governor down low. Wants to try to force the 1v1. Proto gets it, turns away. Reload now in. Thief off the corner. Oh my goodness! What is happening in this series?
Governor is an absolute nutter, dude. I just can't even believe it. I mean, this is a 1v2. He has to look up at such an awkward angle, and he's getting flanked. And then he hits the one tap. The one shot he has to hit, he lands it. Oh my goodness, dude. This game's had everything. Now, with that said, Moist come into this with all the ults. I'm talking all of them. All of them. They're down 2 rounds, and this could be exactly what they need to try to get back into this, but that has to take your breath away a little bit when you have that happen to you.
Once again, Turtle Troop through mid-map. Trailblazer used to try to scout this out. Does find some pretty useful information, but largely speaking, there's not much of a response here for Moist Mogul as far as reclaiming, although Brock is stacked up with Sim.
Did I mention they have all the alts? Yeah.
Yes, you did.
Okay, I just
that,
wanted to be
yeah.
very clear that they have all the alts.
Okay.
Okay. So Turtle Troop basically really trying to climb a steep hill here to pull this one through, but they've certainly made magic happen in crazier times. So it looks like they want to attack this B side. Once again, Killjoy utility set up here, but Flya might get timings!
Okay.
What?
Not quite full. Flya still gets the kill. I have no idea how that's happened. We did with the response, though, keeps us 4v4. Seekers through mid-map actually does reveal that Tig is in position here, and they may rotate behind this. This is a bold call. Adder's just trying to keep the Seekers at bay to sit there and say that, yeah, we're still here, but the longer the Seekers live through B long, the more that Moist Moguls know that this hit's going towards A. So now they're on the quick wrap. Tig has to find kills here, because there's no way for the spike to do anything but get planted. And Tig hears the footsteps. Plays the corner. The first one up. Shots come through. There's the pushback. Showstopper out. Tig has to back away, but the showstopper gets pulled. And that's all that's needed. No chance for the spike to be planted. Whoa.
Oh boy. Only 2 alts used on that as well, so they still have 3 available. 2 of which are massive for retakes between the lockdown and the Viper's Pit. Or you could just use the Viper's Pit defensively to kind of really anchor down one area if you feel that's the play to make. And now Turtle Troop are starting to run a little bit low here on funds.
Out of charges.
And so this is still very much up for grabs.
Placing swarm grenade.
Very hard to read where this is going.
Yeah.
You favor Moist a lot just based on economy.
But who knows?
Adder gets here so fast. Like, do they even know? Probably
Governor
not.
Gets one. Gets away, too. Lots of damage on the way in. Aldro now trying to follow up, and Moist Moguls maybe stuck here a little bit inside a link. Governor wants the gunfight. He's got thief at range, but gets caught on the reload. Flash comes back through, and, well, will be taken down. That's your spike carrier in. Moist Moguls trying to repossess this position at Art. Back and forth trade still occurring, though. Gets us to a 3v3, and the spike is collected and rushed over towards B.
And it's so wide open. They may not know it, obviously, but a Proto has backed up to defend sewers, and their other 2 players are on A. Unfortunately for Turtle Troop, they can't see the map that we can, so they're actually kind of playing into this. But as soon as I say that, Moist might be backing off of A. They might be giving it up. They're going to have to play for retake together as a team. Now, again, they do have lockdown, and that's a big retake tool. So it's not the end of the world that they're going to happen to find themselves out of position for this plan.
Governor will get the plant. Defense will be late to this. How do you set up for the lockdown and also possibly the Cosmic Divide, especially considering that you have no information here, and Adder is deep. Hearing all these footsteps.
He didn't shoot either.
I don't think Thief sees that. Flash comes through. He gets through it, gets the elimination. Now around the backside. Adder can do it all himself. Gets the second up top nearly. Finds all 3. But with that, Governor gets the trade. And Turtle Troop get to 11.
Oh, boy. And that's another alt off the board. Now just the Viper Spit Cosmic Divide left. Credits are sparse. 2 shares have to come into play here. But they have to buy all that they can. They don't want to let Turtle Troop just have a free map and series point. So they get what they can. But look at how slim it is, man.
Yeah.
Oh, my goodness. Stinger is definitely not something you want. Not in this nerf state. Not defensively. But it is what it is. Brock will have to hope for the best. Meanwhile, while they don't have all of the alts, they have a lot of them on the Turtle Troop side.
This is such a tall ask. You have to hope that utility lands if you're Moist Mogul. Just soften up this offense as much as possible. Sim has been unbelievable in these low buy rounds. Maybe he can be a hero again. But Turtle Troop are going to get a free B long. Stars being placed to block off those tall angles where the Sheriffs really could hit. And Adder's looking to put a lineup in towards B Link here with this Nano.
Yep. Flya does have Viper's Pit. He could drop it to try to deter the B plan or to help set up a retake on B. That's really the only thing. But the lockdown's going to come first from the attacking side to try to press the defense off the site. And indeed, they will just have to fall back and play retake. And so unless they can get kills and get on site and then drop Viper's Pit, there's really not many outs for Moist in this situation.
Not at all. Governor's gonna really make life difficult. Gets on up top to
Spike planted.
Frodo gets one for free, and he nearly gets a second. Flyo follows up though. Mummy drops. So now all of a sudden, Governor's almost a little bit stuck up here. All these pistols are looking right at him. Adder trying to save the day. Catches another on reload, and that'll be good for the eliminations, but still back and forth we go. It's Tig by himself. These could be weapons that are collected. Cosmic Divide's called in. But they don't know that Tig is playing from backside halls! No one clears it! And a 1v2 for Turtle Troop! And the eBay clutch to get him to series points!
Oh my, I was so concerned because I wasn't actually in favor of Governor boosting into heaven like that. I thought it was a very risky play, but Tig just sneaks between the cracks and pulls off a huge clutch to save the day for Turtle Troop and put them at map and series point. They still have 4 ults available. Null Command obviously being a huge one to take sight with, and then that Hunter's Fury huge for post plant. On top of the shock darts and all the other utility that Turtle Troop will have. Viper's Pit is going to get dropped by Flya this round here at long. Trying to deter any attack this direction. He covers the entirety of the stretch.
Then you can't lose hope here for Moist Mogul fans.
Oh,
we've seen that how it happens the other way.
This is a brilliant combo. Like,
Yeah.
not only did they have the Viper's Pit down, they also were able to get very aggressive on long A and deny a lot of space, which means that Turtle Troop had to spend a lot of utility and time clearing out extra angles just to get basic map control.
Yeah, but they don't see anything. So you saw that guiding light throw, and maybe a little bit worried are Moist Moguls about what may have came through over towards this A art position. Aldrone out. Doesn't really see much at B. Adder shots will get Moist Moguls interested. Double peek on the way. Adder caught off guard. A key first blood for Moist Moguls. The question still remains, though, what happens in this mid connector?
I don't know. We did. It's got the world as his oyster, basically, on where he wants to go. They're going to be going through B link. This kind of bypasses the Viper's Pit at long, but then it forces you to play post plant inside defensive spawn in B link, which could be quite awkward with
30
rotations
seconds
coming in
left.
from the A side of the map.
Frodo gets the information on not just one, but a couple more. Flya now turns his attention over. Mummy off the plant, but we didn't launches it. Oh, that's such a key kill. And now they reset the plant, knowing the Viper's Pit will go down. Cosmic Divide will make sure this gets planted safely.
Hey,
Governor's
flanking.
right behind the play.
Oh, he
Gets
just
one, the thief gets on the corner. We did behind. Now it's just down to Sim. But there was ever a player you'd want, it would have been him.
Attackers
The Mummy
win.
not allowing it to get off the ground. A 13-9, and Turtle Troop get their first series win in Challengers in duo fashion.
The roster changes come up huge. Tig obviously having massive impact throughout that game, but really there was a moment for everyone to be had, it felt like, in this series. And this final round, so crazy because, you know, you're trying to bypass the Viper's Pit by coming through B link, but it's not going so well at first. But then they get the double kill, they get the Viper's Pit down, and they get to reset their whole game plan on how they want to plant. Then they're able to get safe behind a Cosmic Divide. And they're able to just to win out from that point forward. What a crazy series this was. I mean, it definitely was some very scrappy Valorant, if we're being honest about it. But in the end, Turtle Troop with the new team, despite the limited time together, found a way to win.
Man, unbelievable stuff. Bakary joins us here. I mean, the reactions are multifaceted. I'll say that much.
Yeah. Definitely not how I thought things would go. Very sloppy. I think sloppy is definitely the word. It's not to say that it was really poor Valorant. It's just that things often just sort of fell apart. So like coming into a round, you would see like, okay, we have a clear plan, and then the strategy sort of evaporates. But I do think what you saw as a result was the individual prowess of all of the players across both rosters who have the ability to basically make up for some of the shortcomings. So it makes it exciting. Like, you've got a lot of multi-kill rounds, you've got a lot of rounds that shouldn't happen that do happen. But Dust, overall, I look at that and I'm like, okay, Turtle Troop find their first win. Another team throwing a cog into things, or throwing a spanner in the works, because now they're at 1-2, which puts them in a position where Moist Moguls is also 1-2, but they have the tiebreaker, so they're actually not that far away from playoffs. This was a must-win situation, and they managed to find it.
Yeah, not only that, but you're going to have at least one other team go 1-2 pretty soon here in Group A, just between the situations going on with like Oxygen, FaZe, and Shopify all, you know, having matches coming up here as well. In fact, FaZe is playing Shopify directly, so one of those teams is about to be 1-2 also. So yeah, it's definitely starting to get a little bit wacky as far as group standings go in that regard. But again, this is one of those situations where Turtle just grinded it out. Look at all the first kills Moist got this game and still lost. Like, and a lot of it was Sim having a huge game, 34 frags. I mean, the guy was a monster.
Yeah,
but it just wasn't enough.
That's 2 maps in a row that Moist Moguls come on top of the overall first kill trades. You had 9 from Sim in the first game. You've got 7 here. And it's just so many rounds that you're in 5v4s. And let's be honest, it was more than that. It was usually 5v3s or 4v2s, stuff like that, because these first blood engagements were so crazy. And there is something to be told, I think, for both sides when it comes to getting early numbers advantage. What are we going to do with that, no matter how many it happens to be? Because there were a lot of rounds that looked like, okay, it is a 4v2 situation. This should be winnable. You've got all the tools, you've got the positions. Just don't throw it away. And things just got a little bit loose, maybe a little bit too much, I think, just kind of trying to make too much happen when you don't need to. We saw a couple of over chows, I think, that you'll look back on and say, okay, I don't need to chow that. But it is kind of a very sore subject, I think, especially from the Moist Mogul side, to come out on top of the First Bloods, both maps, and still not quite be able to convert those odd man situations into your favor. I think that's definitely the first place you look at as you get ready for your next match.
Yeah, I think what made that game become so, like, scrappy, besides just the two teams and the styles that they were playing, was how both teams, like, put a lot of effort on the attacking side to control B, Link, and sewers. Like, it set up so many, like, crazy flank timings and, like, quick splits, and it just made it very hard for defenses to respond and rotate properly. And both teams were doing it to each other on their attacking side, and it just like really was a different way of watching Pearl when you saw that much action in those areas of the map that are often kind of more late lurks or like maybe part of a late split, but it would happen so early and so often that it was just kind of turned into a slugfest.
I love that the word chow came out of Shiv's mouth. The inner COD boy.
The Zoomers rubbing in on
the ego chow terminology coming in from the COD scene. But honestly, like, it's an apt term for what we just watched. It was definitely a little bit more aggressive at times. It resulted in advantageous opportunities for the opposition that shouldn't have actually occurred. Now, we are going to go ahead and throw things to our investor post-series highlights. But speaking of an investor, they're actually one of the partners here for the Knights Arena Valorant Challengers North America. And they've actually gotten us this pretty interesting opportunity. And I swear, I kid you not, I had to Google this because I'm that old. You can get a personalized Bitmoji investor debit card and bank with style. You can join the waitlist with no commitments. Head to pks.gg/invit. Gosh, I always screw that one up. It's INVBIT. Those letters just don't flow together well. Please remember that investing does put your capital at risk and can lead to losses. Terms and conditions do apply. We're going to go ahead and throw things to the investor post-series highlights. When we come back, jumping into the post-match interview and wrapping up the show for the day. Stay tuned.
Eyes down.
One enemy remaining. One enemy remaining.
Finish.
One enemy. Team Ace. One enemy remaining. One enemy remaining. One enemy remaining. One enemy remaining. Enemy remaining. One enemy remaining. Last player standing. Team Ace. One enemy remaining.
And welcome back, everyone, to the Knights Arena Valorant Challengers North America. Our second match of the day is concluded. And a victor, again, that maybe wasn't expected, comes out on top. This time it's going to be Turtle Troop. And I am pleased to introduce our post-match interview guest. You know him as Mummy. I know him as Anthony. I've known him for a long time, so I love getting the chance to talk. First and foremost, buddy, I got to say, it's been a while. It's been a minute.
It's been a while, man. How's it going?
I mean, it's going good. Apparently, you pick up your first win coming onto a team like with really not much time. And I think that leads me right into my first question. You took a long break. The last time we really saw you play was July of last year. So I guess my question is, where the hell have you been?
You know, man, I've been here and there. You know, playing Valorant from the inception of the game is like, it's tough, right? Like, you put a lot of hours, you commit a lot of time, and coming off from the days when I used to play CS into Valorant, people put in so much time. You know, in CS, they put in a lot of time as well, but there's so many more people now that the game's out. There's much more broadcasting going on. So when the game first came out, I put in so much time, and, you know, I did great things with Envy. We got signed, moved on to Andbox, NYFU. Things didn't work out. And I was just like, no, let me take a little break. Enjoy myself, play some single player games, still play Valorant though, stay sharp. And then when the time is right, you know, I was called to the task, and here I am.
I mean, given the long break in activity, how did you even connect with this roster? Because the only real connection you had to these players professionally was playing with Harmful back on that Andbox roster in the early days. So he's not on the team anymore. How did this come to be? How did they reach out to you? Did you reach out to them? Was there a tryout? Like, how did that all happen?
So I've been playing this whole act. I've been pretty much grinding, just getting my name out there again, trying to rebrand myself. And Avino, who is the current coach of us, reached out to me, and they wanted to make a roster change. And, you know, I was all for it. I'm sharp, ready to go. I've been practicing smokes initially, and they needed a flex player. So I took upon that task, and I just, you know, honed in and repped it out, and here I am, you know, trying to make a name for the flex players, play well for our team, just make a name for the Turtle Troop. Hopefully get signed one day with these guys.
I mean, you mentioned that they reached out to you. How much time have you actually had with the roster? Because obviously when we see news announced, we don't know if that's the same day that you get signed, but how much time have you been working behind the scenes with these guys?
We've been playing for about a week and a half together.
Okay.
No prior experience with any of these guys before. I maybe played 2 games with Tig in ranked and in a Pro 10 man. With everyone else, nothing really. So we came into the scrims when I first trialed for them, and we hit it off on like the end of the week. It was like a Thursday or Friday. We played 2 scrims, and then we resumed the following week, and then here we are on Monday. Match day. We played an extra set of games on Sunday, and then we continued on today.
How do you feel things are like meshing so far? Obviously, you haven't had much time, but you know you've been able to kind of figure out what's going on with the team. How do you feel it worked out?
I think it worked out well. We have a lot of stuff set up for ourselves in the start of the round, the initial, and the things that we noticed when we're in match play, when we're in scrims from this past week is just, you know, our retakes, our post plans, just getting on the same page. You know, it's really important when you're playing this game that you stick to an idea, right? Because there's so many ways to approach something in this game. There's so much variability. There's so many things that could happen. You just want to make sure that you're understanding how to stick to the plan, you know, building that trust within each other, knowing what's the correct play, and just getting on that page. So we're trying to work on that right now. We have really good openings and really good theory about what we want to do and how we want to get it done. But now we just need to make sure that when we're in these high pressure situations, we're able to get that cohesion and work together, and then we're gonna make a run for it.
Now, who is calling for you guys right now?
Right now, Tig is calling.
Is it hard? Like, you have a decent bit of experience as an IGL. Is it hard for you to like not only swap roles because you're now playing an initiator, and we've seen you play controller. You've played initiators with other teams, but a large part of your career was spent playing a controller. But is it hard to swap roles as the IGL now playing a playing role, a listening role, and also swapping your roles in the server?
For me, I feel like the biggest challenge is just the perception, right? So when you switch roles, you're in different positions and you're playing a whole different game. So you really want to hone in on what you see from where you are and how that affects the people on your team and your enemies. So what I've been trying to practice when I play is just my perception of everyone and what calls I need to make from my perspective and how I need to be moving forward in my position or moving back based off that perception. So like playing a controller or playing a jet in my previous teams, I was able to see things and understand where I should be, what happens, what's my reaction, where I got to go. Right now, I'm working on that to make it better because I haven't had many reps as this role. But I'm focused on improving and I'm focused on being a strong asset for this team within that role.
I mean, we speak of that role swap too. We didn't see an op. You were notorious as an opper. That was what you did in CS. That's what you did when you started out in Val as well. Is that going to be something we see come back at all, or is it time to kind of put the old mummy to bed and have this new one rise in the morning?
Nah, the op is within me, man. Whenever it's like venom, man. Whenever that thing wants to come out, it wants to come out. So it's definitely in the books for us. I think when time permits, when I think I could pull an off, when we need to make a swap, I'm always that secondary op that we could rely on. So I'm definitely gonna make sure that I get the op out because I got some dope skins. I want to show them off.
All right, last question before I let you go. This one comes from the fan zone as well. This is from Ducky. If you guys are curious, you can join the fan zone at pks.gg/discord. It's a bit of a generic question, but which are the best players on their teams, and who do you believe was the best player on your team, and who was the best player on the other team? We can stick to the latter part of that question because that's deep, going to every team.
That's deep, man. Let me go through here real quick and find the.
Are you pulling up?
Teams.
My man's pulling up VLR right now. He's looking at the rosters.
Let me get the rosters together. So I think for G2, I'm gonna have to say my boy Dapper. I've always loved Mike. Shopify, I'm a big Mata fan, as always. FaZe, Baby Bay, man, come on, he's the man. OXG, the guy Scuba's been crushing. I think he's a big asset to that team. Moist, the guys we just played. Sim popped off, but I'm gonna have to give it to Flya. He's got a lot of versatility in his play. For us, I mean that boy Tig. Come on, guy's a legend out there.
I thought you were gonna say yourself Tig for a minute.
Nah, never. I'm always selfless when I play, man. I gotta make sure that my boys eat first. M80, come on. Nismo, is that a question? He's the GOAT. Got the best flashes and he's the handsomest. Mad Lions, let's go with. That's a tough one. There's a lot of good talent on that team, but I've been liking Trick recently. I think he's got a lot of versatility. I like the way he played in his last few matches, so I can't discount them there. Disguised, I will have to give it to. I don't know, man. It's a tough one. Steel's looking pretty hot out there. Steel's looking good. I'm always a fan of Steel, so I'm gonna have to go with Steel. But Clear is a nice come up that everyone's got to watch out for. Who else do we got here? TSM. I love Campeki. I have to say I played with him in the last night's tournament, and I love his versatility. I love his comms, and I think he's really strong on KO. So
okay.
I'm gonna have to give it to Campeki with that recent pickup. And then Ori Sports. I'm a big Jonah 6 fan. I played with him on Nbox. I also played with Lear as well. But Jonah 6 always had a nice place in my heart. I always loved his comms. I loved his energy. I thought he was a great teammate. So I will give it to Jonah 6.
And then I think we got one more left, the guard.
The guard, it feels like the guard's franchise at this point with these guys. They're amazing out there. The Tex pops off, and I've always been a fan of Tex. There's so much talent on this team, though. It's tough. It's a tie for me between Tex and Trent, but any given day it could be Trent, and any other day it could be Tex. So I'm gonna have to give it a tiebreaker there for them both.
That's fair. That's fair. Well, I'm gonna let you go. Congratulations on the win, man. It's always great catching up. Wish you the best of luck. Hopefully, you guys will not be the only unsigned team in Challengers for much longer.
Yep, hope so. Thanks, Mark.
Crossing my fingers
Appreciate
for
it.
you.
Thank you, man.
All right, later, brother. All right. Well, I mean, I love the fact that when I first met Mummy, I don't want to say he had an ego, but he was definitely a very confident player when he was playing in his CS days. The fact that he's now turned into this guy who's like, yo, I'm going to let my boys eat first. That's awesome. And speaking of my boys and eating, we got to bring my boys back in. Speaking specifically of the casters, we've got Dustin Shift coming back in to join us to wrap things up.
Mummy just did more analyst work than all of us did. Like, this man had to go after every team.
That was
God,
actually,
dog.
I did not expect him to give me one from every team. I was trying to give him an out. I was like, just pick one from your team and one from their team, and we'll move.
This
and he was
man
like,
went
"Nah, I
down
got all
the
these guys."
entire 12-team lineup and just fired off, again, more analysis we probably did all night. We're busy talking about spam and freaking spin the bottle and whatever else we were talking about, you know, but this man was out here. All right.
Maybe I missed the part where you talked about spin the bottle. I must have had my headset off. I don't remember hearing that one.
Unlucky.
Your conversations get a lot more awkward on air than mine do. But we speak of awkward. You know what's awkward now? This segue into the group standings. As we take a look at how things have shaken up across the groups, it's real weird now because we had talked about it coming into the top of show. Group A was the one that was like, oh, like all sorts of weird stuff's happening here. And now Group B has actually gotten that way because the Guard suffered a loss at the hands of TSM Dust. And that's now sent things into a bit of an interesting territory because the Guard technically loses the tiebreaker to TSM. So, I mean, unless there's some weird stuff I still don't fully understand, but I feel like it's a head-to-head first, right? So TSM should be the number 2 seed right now in Group B. The Guard just did not look great coming into today, Dust. It felt like they really just kind of were sloppy. Like, it just wasn't hitting.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's just going to get interesting now in the sense that when you look at, like, the bottom of Group B, like, Mad Lions and Or Esports have tough matches next week. Like, you have a situation, or this week, I should say, where Or Esports is having to play Disguised and M80 is playing against Mad Lions. And, you know, those two teams could both go 0-3, in which case the whole TSM getting an upset on the Guard might kind of even out, like if Disguise gets their dub and M80 just stays out on top. But if either one of those games goes Mad Lions or Esports way, then all of a sudden, like, things get really hairy for that, like, final 2 spots or final spot, I guess you could say, for the 4th spot in the group. Then, yeah, Group A is just, who knows, man. That group's all over the place.
Yeah, I think I'll say with Group B, we're not done with surprises, I think.
No,
Just based on what we saw today, because as much as I think we could try to point at certain flaws that the Guard had, I'm still more impressed. Like, I consider that series to be TSM winning that series more than the Guard is losing that series, if you know what I mean. So I was impressed by TSM, and who knows what that means as far as teams like Disguised, who's still in the mix without question. And then you also got to remember that OR Esports had played up against nothing but M80 and the Guard, so who knows what they have to offer versus the other 4 teams. Whereas now all of a sudden you kind of look over towards Group A, and you got to remember that FaZe and Oxygen still have not played each other yet. So there may be an opportunity there to actually see some significant tiebreakers, not just to see who gets in, but it's more so the fact that you could be seeing multi-way tiebreakers in for just the 4th position, let alone we know what the seeding will look like. So, yeah, this is going to be a really interesting kind of back half of this first split as we kind of continue with our momentum getting onto weekends now.
You talk about that match as well, the FaZe versus Oxygen match. Let's go ahead and take a look at our schedule for the rest of this week so we can see the remainder of the matches that will play out. Because, again, a lot of the expectations coming into this week were that we'd see the Guard pick up a 2-0. Moist would probably pick up a 2-0. And now that that didn't happen, I think it puts a question mark on a lot of the remainder of the matches because, one, these teams had a lot of prep time. We talked about at the top of the show. It's like 17 or 18 days since the last time we played in Challengers. So week 2 to week 3, these teams had all the time in the world to prep for their opponents. So a team like TSM, who knows they're facing off against a team like Guard, is going to put in as much prep time as possible. Now, obviously, we know that's not really how it happened because of the roster shuffle. But a team like OXG is going to put in that work for a team like G2. And that FaZe Shopify game also equally interesting as we look to the rest of the week, because that too really has some serious consequences for how the group shapes up.
Yeah, that FaZe Shopify match is a proving point match for both teams. For FaZe, it's, showed that week 1 was kind of a fluke. For Shopify, it's showing that week 2 was a bit of a fluke for you, considering that we were really high on them after the first week's performance. So it's definitely a proving point match, and it's one that is a leapfrog match as well, to where both teams are 1-1. So you win that key matchup, and you already differentiate yourself from the rest of the people that are kind of still stuck in that potential tiebreaker situation, at least for now. But like I mentioned, I think we're going to have a lot more surprises underway, and I would not be sleeping on that Oxygen G2 match either.
Well, we'll have to wait until tomorrow to see some of those games. We're going to go ahead and throw things to the Investor Day highlights, and we'll see you guys tomorrow for more Knights Arena Valorant Challengers North America Split 1 Week 3. We'll see you then.
Last player standing. One enemy remaining. 10 seconds. One enemy remaining. Last player standing. One enemy remaining. One enemy remaining. One enemy remaining. One enemy remaining. 30 seconds left. One enemy remaining. One enemy remaining. One enemy remaining. One enemy remaining. Spike down B. Still waiting. One enemy remaining. One enemy remaining. Long. One enemy remaining. One enemy remaining. One enemy remaining. Blood. One enemy enemy kill. One enemy remaining. The enemy was goodbye. One enemy remaining. My ultimate is ready. Eyes down. One enemy remaining. One enemy remaining. One enemy remaining. One enemy. Team ace. One enemy remaining. One enemy. One enemy remaining. One enemy remaining. Look at that. One enemy remaining. Enemy remaining. Spike down B. One enemy remaining. One enemy remaining. Last player standing. Team ace. One enemy remaining. Last. One enemy remaining. Blood. Attackers win.